Today is August 25th, 1997. I'm conducting an interview with Mr. Walter Karliner in Westbrook, Connecticut. My name is Agnes Verdes, and the language of the interview is English. Today's date is August 25th, 1997. I'm conducting an interview with Mr. Walter Karliner in Westbrook, Connecticut. My name is Agnes Verdes. The language of the interview is English. Could you tell us your name, please?
My name is Walter Karliner.
How do you spell your last name, sir?
K-A-R-L-I-N-E-R.
When were you born?
I was born August 11th, 1924.
And where was that?
It was in Germany, Silesia, this small town of Peiskirchen.
How do you spell that, sir?
P-E-I-S-K-R-E-T-M-A-N.
And what was that town near?
It was near the Polish border in Germany, Silesia, but also near the town of Beuthen or Gleiwitz. Actually not far from Katowice, which is Poland.
What was your father's name?
My father's name was Joseph Karliner.
What was his occupation?
He had a grocery store. He also had, he was a merchant of horses. He bought and sold horses.
What was your mother's name?
My mother's name was Martha Karliner.
And her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Weisler. W-E-I-S-S-L-E-R.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had a sister that was older than me. She was born in 1922. Her name was Ilse. The second one was me, Walter. I was born in 1924. The third was a boy too. His name was Herbert. He was born in 1926. And then we had a sister. She was born, her name was Ruth, and she was born in 1928.
Tell me something about your life as a child in Peiskirchen.
Well, in the beginning, I think we had a good life, and I played with my brothers and sisters. We also had about 30 Jewish families in that town, and I played with these other boys and girls from the other Jewish children.
What kind of a house did you live in?
We lived in a house that was built in 1453 was built. A very large house with very white stone walls. And my grandparents was born in that town, in that house too, and so was we.
How many rooms did the house have?
Oh, the front part was the store, the grocery store. In the middle was our very large living room, kitchen, and bath. And in back was another house. In that other part of that house, the back part of the building, we lived. We had 3 bedrooms, baths, and that's it.
And the family occupied the entire building?
Yes, but believe it or not, below our living quarters in back, we had our horse stable. The horses was right in underneath the living quarters.
How come you had horses there?
Because my father was a merchant of horses, and in order to take the grain or the food around, we used the horses. But he also bought and sold them with a Polish man.
You told me that your grandparents had been born in the same house.
Same, yeah.
Where did your mother come from?
My mother came from Nikolai. that was it. It was Poland. It is still Poland. As in town is Nikolai, and that was about 20 miles, maybe 30 kilometers from Katowice.
So your grandparents who lived in the house before you were your father's parents?
Father's parents, all the Karliners, yes.
Did you know your mother's parents?
My mother's father, I remember. Our grandfather, he was a very nice old gentleman with a beard, a white beard. He was very, very soft-spoken and was very religious too.
What was the religious orientation of your family?
My father's side wasn't that religious, but my mother's side was quite religious. In fact, we had a kosher home, thanks to our mother.
Did you go to synagogue?
Yes. By the way, in Germany at that time there was school on Saturdays for all the children, but because my mother was religious, she didn't allow us to go to school on Saturdays. Friday night we had to go to the synagogue. On Saturday morning we had to go to the synagogue.
So then did you go to public schools?
Yes.
Did you get any kind of Jewish education?
Yes, we went to Hebrew school. We had the old cantor there. He taught us Hebrew. In fact, he also taught me towards my bar mitzvah.
Tell me about your childhood. How was life for a young child in Preiskirchen, Germany?
Well, it probably, if it wasn't Jewish, it would have been fine. But because our family was Jewish and everyone in my town knew, because the town was very small, they knew all the Jews. There was the boys, the Catholic and Protestant boys came and how would I say, they bothered us quite a bit. They spit on us. And in school, some of the boys beat me up, my brother and my sisters. And it was quite tough going to school in Germany in the Nazi time. Yeah.
Before the Nazi time, were there any anti-Semitic incidents?
A little bit, but not that great when Hitler came to power. Besides, I was too young, too small to remember that exactly. You know.
After Hitler came to power, as a young boy, schoolboy, are there any incidents that you can recall?
Oh, yes. In my class, I went to a school, there was only boys in my class, about 55 boys. And we had a principal, a very gentle, very nice man. He taught us, he was very good to us, to me as a Jew. But I also had a small teacher who was a Nazi. And for any little occasion, he beat me up. One time, I don't know what the reason was, he beat me so badly up that it was black and blue. My behind was black and blue. I never forget that. And the principal, who was a gentle, nice man, he couldn't do nothing about it because he wasn't a Nazi, but this man was a Nazi and he did whatever he wanted to. The police wouldn't take care of things like that either, because we was Jewish, and no matter what the Nazis did, was okay with the police and with everybody else.
What did your parents do about this?
Well, they couldn't do anything about it, because calling the police for that reason or going to the principal, they couldn't, nobody did anything to help the Jews at that time.
So did your father or mother tell you anything after this happened?
No, well, I was beaten up by this little Nazi, and they saw my behind, which was black and blue. I never forget that, never.
How old were you at this time?
I was about 13 years old. 13 years old, yeah.
Is there any other event during that year that happened to you?
I don't know exactly that year, but other years was, the boys did a lot of sports because the Hitler Youth was in there, and we as Jews couldn't go and do all the sports with them. It broke our heart, me and my brother's heart, because we wanted to be with the youth, but they did. We couldn't go swimming because we was Jews. We couldn't go to the movies because we was Jewish. And it was very tough for us, yes.
This was what year you're talking about?
That was in 1936, 37, 38. Yeah.
Did you at that point understand what was going on with Hitler and his government?
Yes, my father said, well, he's not going to be here forever. It's going to get better. But as we all know, it never got better. It got worse.
You said you had some Jewish education. Were you bar mitzvahed?
I was bar mitzvah in 1936. And many of my uncles and aunts came. And in the town, the Jewish people attended my bar mitzvah. In fact, they gave me a bicycle. They got together, the Jewish congregation of my town, and they gave me, as a bar mitzvah gift, a bicycle, which I never have pictures of it too.
You still have pictures of it to this day?
I do have, yeah, but that picture was in France. That picture was taken in France because it eventually, well, we come to that later. When we was in France, I got the bicycle out of the cases. Yeah.
So you were bar mitzvah and you got this bicycle?
Yeah, the bicycle from the Jewish congregation of Peiskirchen. My uncles and aunts gave me different things, cameras, and in fact, I loved pigeons. And an uncle from Magdeburg sent me some pigeons as a Hanukkah, as a bar mitzvah gift.
So, any other Jewish holidays stand out in your mind?
Well, you know, for Yom Kippur, my mother didn't let us, we had no food, we didn't eat, couldn't eat on Yom Kippur, and we had all the holidays, yeah.
What was your favorite holiday?
Hanukkah, I would say, Hanukkah, yeah.
And why was that?
Because we got some gifts. We got some clothes and some shoes, not toys, I wouldn't say so, no. My parents was very practical in that way, yeah.
What was the relationship between you and your sisters and your brother?
Well, my sister was older and she always thought she was smarter than anybody else, the oldest sister.
Which one was that? What was her name?
Ilse, yeah. And when she was also 15 years old, she went to a school in Breslau to learn to be a homemaker, to know how to sew and things like that.
What about your other sister and your brother?
My brother was younger than me. I was the second one born. My brother was 2 years younger, and we had a lot of fights together. And my little sister, I do remember very well, when we had fights, she scratched everybody.
So how did things change for you when Hitler's laws came in?
Well, how's it changed? As I said, we couldn't go to a movie, we couldn't go swimming, we couldn't go to the movie, other affairs we couldn't attend, as being Jewish.
What about your parents?
They couldn't attend anything either. No. They was very hard workers. They never took time off to go in vacation or go someplace. No.
Was there any other traumatic event before 1939 before the war broke out in September 1939, that you recall?
The Crystal Night.
Tell me about that.
That was in November. Early in the morning we heard some noise when we woke up. And my brother and me, we looked out in the back. We had the front of the building was the store on the main street. And in back, where we lived, where our living quarters was also a street. And there was somebody, a little crippled fella. He was very, very anti-Semitic. he always beat us up and we could do nothing because he was born only with one hand, one arm. And he was the biggest anti-Semite that I ever remember in my town. He was looking in back there and make some noise. We didn't know anything what happened. My parents went into the store and they came back. The front window was broken. Everything was smashed in the store. Mustard and sugar and everything was turned over. We didn't know what happened. So my mother called up the police and they told us that somebody's going to come over and tell us what's happening. But nobody came. Eventually, not SS, but SA man came and took my father.
What does SA stand for?
The SA. I think that people should know what it was. It was SS was the black uniform, and SA they had the brown uniform. If you see, that was the difference between. I don't know why the social something. I don't know. Well, anyway, they came and took my father, and my mother called up other relatives, and we found out that all the men over 16 years old was taken, and they was going to be sent into a camp someplace. And we had my brother had another brother in my town too, and he was taken too. And then we had another brother in Gleiwitz. He was taken too.
You mean your father had another brother?
Yeah, they was all taken to that same camp. And well, we found out what happened. And we heard our synagogue burned down. The small synagogue in my town burned down. And then we found out it was in every town, every city in Germany, the same thing was happening. And anyway, at that time we didn't know where our father was going to be or where they took my father and all the other Jews from my town. And about an hour later, not SS, but a SA man came. He had another store on the corner from us, a grocery store. And he asked my mother if she wanted to sell our house and store. My mother told him no. So he left. And eventually, 2-3 days later, he came back with other SA men. And they forced my mother to sell the house, the store, everything, for 16,000 mark. At that time, our house and store was worth about 48,000 mark. In the meantime, we found out that all the men was taken to a concentration camp. It was called Buchenwald or Oranienburg, one or the other, in Germany, near Berlin. And we didn't know what was going to happen. Eventually we found out that if the Jews if they get papers in order to leave Germany, they would be let go from the camps. So what was available at that time was only papers to go to Shanghai. So my mother bought some papers, some visas to go to Shanghai for my father only. And his brothers, the same thing. This way he was released from the camps. My father was, I would say, a month and a half in that camp, and my uncles the same time. And they came home because they had papers in order to go to Shanghai.
Do you recall when your father came home, what did he look like?
Terrible. He was shaved. He had no hair. He was shaved all over, and I just didn't recognize him. Anyway, my father didn't want to leave alone to go to Shanghai without us. So we tried to get some visa to go to some other countries. In fact, at that time, there was a place to go, Madagascar, a little island off the coast of Africa. And we thought we would go there, but it was a wild, small island, and there was nothing there, but we thought of going there with the family. And anyway, it didn't go out. And then there was some visas available, buying for 500 mark, or dollar or mark, to go to Cuba. So my parents bought that visa to go.
Was that 500 per person or 500 for the family?
For the family. I think it was in dollars. So my parents and our friends in my town, and also our uncle Walter, which was a dentist in Breslau, he also got some, he bought the papers in order to go to Cuba. And then we had to buy tickets, buy boat tickets to go to Cuba. And there was a ship available that was named San Luis that had room for about 1,000 passengers. And my parents and our friends and our uncle booked to go to Cuba on that ship, which was called San Luis.
Walter, other than the $500 per family, what else did it take to get a visa to Cuba? Did you have to have relatives there?
We did have relatives there, but I don't think that had nothing to do with it.
Who did you have in Cuba?
We had uncles. In fact, my mother's brother, a lawyer, was already there in Cuba. But I don't think it had anything to do to have relatives there in order to go there. And we had cousins there already in Cuba. Anyway, we booked on the San Luis on, when was it? May 13th. That ship was supposed to go from Hamburg to Cuba. Before going to Cuba, we had money, and we wasn't that poor. Our parents couldn't take any money out from Germany. So what we did, we built some cases, some wooden crates, and into the wooden crates we put mattresses. There were 6 people, for 6 people, beds for 6 people, mattresses for 6 people. In fact, at that time in Germany, not too many people had a refrigerator. We bought a refrigerator and put it in the crate, in the different crates. Eventually, we got 26 crates for our family, with every linen and blankets and whatever for the whole family. In fact, as I said, we couldn't take any money out. My parents bought 4 cameras, German cameras, because it was very valued here in America or in Cuba, any place. Leica and Contax cameras. We bought, I think, 2 Leicas and 2 Contax camera, and we couldn't take them out. So my mother put them into the mattresses and saw them up into the mattresses. 4 German cameras. Each one was worth about $500-600 at that time in American dollars. Anyway, we got all that into the crates, which I think I mentioned, 26 crates, and they was shipped to Hamburg and put aboard the St. Louis. And anyway, we went, I think, the 8th or the 9th of May 1939 to Hamburg. In Hamburg, we stayed in a hotel Bismarck until May 13th. This is when the ship was supposed to leave. And anyway, I remember that hotel was very nice, and we took some cruise ships, to go around the port to see what's all about. We was never on a port someplace because we was way inland. There was no water there, nothing. On the 13th of May 1939, my parents went aboard. We went aboard very happily. And there was on the ship, there was a band. And that band played in a German song, muss ich denn vom Städtelein hinaus. Can
you translate?
Well, I I have to go out from the city. And my mother cried something terrible.
Tell me, when you heard that, when you went aboard the ship, the St. Louis, what were your feelings? Do you recall it?
I was glad to leave, and we had a lot of friends aboard, relatives and so on, and that ship was something new for young people, you know. So I was very happy. My brothers and sisters was very happy. My mother was very upset. My father wasn't that upset, but my mother was. Yeah.
What did you think the future will hold?
We didn't know. We didn't know the language that is going. You know, we only knew German, and we didn't know this. We didn't speak Spanish. Not one word at that time Spanish. Anyway, we left the 13th of May, Hamburg, Germany, and from there the ship went first to Southampton in England to pick up some more passengers, Jewish passengers, German Jews, that went also to Cuba. And 3-4 days out of the port, the ocean was very rough, and a lot of people got very seasick. And I got seasick too, but only the first 2-3 days, but it was very rough. And all of a sudden we heard a man aboard the ship died, a Jewish man. And that same night the ship stopped. We didn't know about it. The ship stopped in the middle of the ocean and let the body go into the water. When the ship stopped, I heard it only next day, there was 2 Russian sailors aboard, working for the German lines, the Hamburg America line, Hapag. And one of them was a little crazy. He jumped into the ocean and he was never found. The ship went towards Cuba, and we had a very nice time on the ship. Everybody was gay and happy. We had concerts, we had dances every night, we had a swimming pool. The food was excellent. For us young people especially, it was a good time.
How did the crew treat you?
Very nice, very nice.
All of them?
All of them. Just going in, going back was different.
And you as a young boy, what did you do all day aboard the ship?
Oh, I was running around, swimming, and playing shuffleboard. They had movies, and they also had a horse race, you know, on all the ships they have that. And movies and all that. I do remember also in that big hall there was a picture of Hitler, and the people asked the captain to remove that picture, and he did remove it.
Do you remember the captain's name?
I do. I just slipped my mind. Chef? I forgot.
So things went pretty well.
I know Gustav Schröder. The name of the captain was Gustav Schröder.
Did you know him?
Well, I never spoke to him, but I saw him walking around, and he was very, very nice man. Very nice.
Did he treat the passengers well?
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
I think we're going to stop now.
Yeah.